Welcome to our evening program. You are in Green Acre virtual land. Normally we would be here in person, but of course, COVID has both allowed more of us to be here from all over the place and allowed us to be here in squares rather than in person. But for that, we're actually quite grateful because it enables so many more of us to be together. So, who am I and why can't I find my notes? My name is Jessica Gaines and I serve as the program coordinator here at Green Acre, which is a Baha'i Center of Learning. Yep, my computer is like totally spacing out. So I'm just gonna wing it because I can't access my notes. So welcome to Green Acre. As you can see, this is our beautiful campus that Frank is so generously sharing with us on the screen. We are located, our physical campus is located in southern Maine in the small, quaint town of Elliott on the banks of the beautiful Piscataqua River. This is the homeland of the Wabanaki people. And Green Acre has been here since the late 1800s. As you can see, that's one of our main buildings on campus. That's the Sarah Farmer Inn. And since the late 1800s, Sarah Farmer, who this inn is named after, really started Green Acre to be a place where people gathered to discuss the important issues of the day. And we're really continuing that tradition. And in this day, we're using the arts a lot to really dig into discourse, dig into the topics of the day. How does art help us better understand some of these concepts of justice, of unity, of the oneness of humanity? Tonight is a discourse space connected to Green Acre's current art show, which is virtual. And this art show is called Just Diverse United, The Destiny of America. And you can find that on our website. And you can see our gallery and you'll see different forms of art. You'll see visual arts. This is back in the day when we were all together. This is one of our art show openings. You'll see virtual arts, you'll see poetry, you'll see music, and we're really trying to expand that. That's me. And so tonight we are really focused on the intersectionality of the visual arts and of diversity. So I am going to try one more time to see if my computer will cooperate, and it won't cooperate. So one of my great team members, Ed or Frank, are going to need to read the quotes that I was going to read because my computer is not working and it's not allowing me to access it. But tonight is really based, again, as I said, on this concept of diversity. Just diverse, united, as you can see there. So the intersectionality between the visual arts and diversity. So I think I'm supposed to also tell you a bit about the flow of the evening. But before I do that, I just want to welcome our guest artist panelists. We have with us Angela Denise, Nommo Kofi Diop, and Michèle Jubilee. They are three of our visual artists who currently have their work in our show. And I will formally introduce them later. So the flow of the evening, we're going to jump pretty quickly here into an interactive activity. Then we are going to go to a bit more about our art show. Then we'll go to the artists and we'll hear from the artists themselves. How does their work really help to reflect the diversity of the human experience, the diversity of the human family? How is their work unique? How is it contributing to diversity? Then everyone here, by the way, you're all doing a great job so far of keeping yourselves on mute. You must have been in some Zoom meetings before because we're all, of course, supposed to keep ourselves on mute unless we're speaking because it really helps to limit that background noise. But we are all gonna be together the whole time. We're gonna break out towards the end into 3 breakout groups. And we are going to discuss, there's a couple quotes and a couple questions in context of those quotes that we're going to talk about together and just explore and unpack together. Then we'll come back for a closing activity. And there will be an artist and a Green Acre staff in each room. We are really dedicated to making sure that you feel that this is a space for you, a space where you feel welcomed, where you feel safe. Frank will go over a bit of breakout protocol etiquette. We do have the ability to kick people out if anybody steps out of line and doesn't respect anybody else's heart, but I know that's not going to happen because it hasn't happened yet. And we are all here for the purpose of exploring this beautiful world with its art and its diversity.
Well, welcome everybody. My name is Frank Robinson. I'm also a member of the art committee. When we were talking about doing the visual arts this evening, one of the things that popped in my head was sight and vision and how powerful and potent those things are. And I didn't do extensive research, but when I was, looking online, I found, this pretty powerful stat of 80 to 85% of our cognition and perception is through our vision and sight. And what's interesting is we're going to be discussing vision on two levels this evening, right? One, we're going to hear from the artists and what they put into their work and for what they hope that you're gleaning from it. But also there's this other aspect of vision, which is a roadmap to where we might want to go. And that's the discourse part of the evening. So we all heard this quote, the eyes are the windows to the soul. Also, this fascinated me as well. Looking up vision and sight, that sight is the physical part of our vision, it's the physical aspect of seeing, but then vision is how the mind and the heart interpret that. And I really love that last piece here, that the eyes aren't just performing a task, they're actually a portal that the brain tells us about the world. And so with that, we wanted to jump right into an activity to get you all involved. So we're going to show you some of the art from the artists, and we're going to ask you to kind of respond to what you think's happening. How do you feel about it? So let's start with this piece. What does this image make you feel? Please write 3 words in the chat, or you can write 1 sentence describing what you think is happening, what's going on here. And we'll do this for about a minute, 30 seconds. And yeah, if you could type your responses in the chat, that would be great. I have Jessica for some mood music. If you, oh, you can't do it? Okay, we don't need mood music.
Sorry.
Okay, so we'll just keep some time and please. Okay. Discovery. I see you, you see me. Contemplative. Illusion, reflection and wonder. Connectiveness, insight, reflection. Connection, reflection, distance. Mirror, reflecting. Longing, connecting, mirroring. Crossing barriers. Beautiful. We are all alike and not alike. Discovery. Scared, sad, unsure. Ooh, you guys are good. I can't keep up. A lot of longing, striving for connection, getting to know you. Locked, finding truth. Okay, maybe who are we? Attunement, approach, sensitivity, and focus. Wonderful, wonderful. All right, same exercise. This time you got 2 pieces. What does image 1 make you feel? Please write 3 words. Write a sentence what the artist could be exploring in image 2. Trapped, freedom. Number 1, boxed in, constraint, frustration, and anger. Fetus. Number 1, breaking free, confinement. Untapped potential. Calm, cool, and collected. Confined. Growth. Hey, Elliot. I didn't know Elliot Moya was here. Growth, cooperation, support. Okay. can't keep up. 2, invisible. 1, pushing boundaries of complexity, growth, and life. Fertility, womb, channels, the channels. Many pieces to who I am in. Whew, wonderful. Maybe 30 more seconds. Got 21 messages here. Can't keep up. Number 2, beauty emerging. 2, diversity and dance. 2, growth, life, unity, and diversity. All right, slowing down here. Beautiful, beautiful. That was 1 minute. All right, last one, friends. Now, there's a dead giveaway about whose art this might be. I purposely did not tell you the artist right now, but you will find out. How do these images make you feel? Please write 3 words. And 2, a little different. How do these images reflect resilience in the human spirit? Write a sentence. And give you 2 minutes for this one. Triumphant. Finding inner strength, courage, community. Unbroken. Self-mantra, vision, identity. Hopeful, proud and capable, strong and resilient. Reminders of resilience, sad that we have to have these reminders. Empowered, the journey. Child, woman, play. Oh, here they come. Journey of growth, overcoming the past, steadfast, growth, resilient, concern. And I want to go back and do it, but I can't. I'm reading these. Number 1 is hopeful in growing diversity. 2, strong, radiant, power. Glow of truth, framed in red, strength. Okay, wonderful. So friends, in this brief exercise of what, 3 to 4 minutes, you've interacted with art through your vision. The vision has touched your heart and you have given back to the whole group, excuse me, from what you saw. So thank you, friends. And with that, now we turn it over to E.C. Phillips. We'll discuss the motivation for doing this art show as an art committee.
I'm here to represent or to just, I have the honor of being with you all tonight as a representation from the art committee. They have the vision that we were just talking about is something that they have put together as a committee in 8 different shows. This is the 8th art show that the Green Acre Committee has organized, and it's the 2nd one that we're presenting online like this, in this format, due to the pandemic, obviously, but we've learned a lot in both processes. And this dialogue space, well, our inspiration, we come under the umbrella of a theme that's called Exploring Justice Through Beauty. And as Jessica mentioned, this current art show is Just, Diverse, United, the Destiny of America. And this artist call is how we sent this out. We sent this out as an artist call and had remarkable and creative answers from 60 entries and 39 different creative souls. It was an amazing, the outpour that we had to this. And the quote that you see on the screen in front of you, and I'm going to read it for you, is what was this inspiration that we sent out for and the vision that we were calling upon the artists to create for. We ardently pray that the American people will grasp the possibilities of this moment, to create a consequential reform of the social order that will free it from the pernicious efforts of racial prejudice, and will hasten the attainment of a just, diverse, and united society that can increasingly manifest the oneness of the human family. Now, this quote is for what this evening is about tonight. We've chosen the visual aspect of tonight to work on diversity, okay? And again, on behalf of the Green Acre Art Committee, I welcome you to sit back, relax, participate as you already just experienced. We're going to have more to do within the chat for you. And I want you to dig a lot deeper into the diversity, and I will turn the mic back to Jessica.
As we said, this evening is about diversity, and we want to think about diversity in the context of life and art, obviously, but we thought these quotes might help us think about diversity a bit. So here we go. Here's a quote that we want you all to think about and take these thoughts with you into the breakout space later this evening. How unpleasing to the eye, of all the flowers and plants, the leaves and blossoms, the fruit, the branches, and the trees of that garden were all of the same shape and color. Diversity of hues, form, and shape enricheth and adorneth the garden, and heighteneth the effect thereof. In like manner, when diverse shades of thought, temperament, and character are brought together under the power and influence of one central agency, the beauty and glory of human perfection will be revealed and made manifest. So that is by Abdul Baha, the son of Baha'u'llah. And I believe our next quote is also, again, about diversity, and again from Abdul Baha. I really love the last part of this quote. It really sets it off for me. So in reality, all are members of one human family. Humanity may be likened unto the vari-colored garden flowers of one garden. There is unity in diversity. Each sets off and enhances the other's beauty. And I feel like that last sentence, actually those last two sentences, really just encapsulate this whole concept of diversity for me in context of this evening and what we're really trying to explore. And that we are all bringing something unique and beautiful to the table. And that makes everything else stand out as well. All right, so with those quotes in mind, I would now like to introduce our artists. First on the docket, we have Angela Denise. Let me pull up her. Aha, so Angela is inspired by strong feelings and emotions. She uses her brushes to show movement and texture. Art began as an escape away from pain for her through sketches and drawings. Art keeps her grounded, and for her is a way to let go of pain and to work through it. Over the past 2 years, her art has evolved, and as she started to paint, she realized that she wanted to change her narrative. She wanted to become more uplifting and positive, and she began to paint where she saw herself, where she wanted to be mentally and physically. At times when life was far from beautiful, she painted about feelings and thoughts that inspired her to be in a healthier mental state and to stay there. She's excited to see where this artistic journey takes her. And with that, I'm going to pass this over to my new friend Angela to just talk a little bit about her and her art and how it contributes to the beautiful diversity of human expression.
Hi, everyone. Hi, I'm Angela Denise. I started painting, I think about maybe 2 years ago. And these 3 pieces were pretty much my first pieces I did probably 2 years ago. The first one was, it says, "Broken girls blossom into warriors." That was my first self-portrait. I've never done a self-portrait before, never done like real life paintings. And I just liked what it represented, to be someone that may have been called broken and to rise and come out of that into something of beauty, just like a flower rises and grows. The second one, "I Am Fearless," it kind of was done to give me some hope and give me some, I guess, inspiration to not be fearful of anything and to like have a more positive outlook on a lot of different things in life. And I have 2 sons, a 28-year-old and a 15-year-old. And hope just was, I want the future to be a lot better. I want it to be more colorful. I want it to be brighter, especially for them and for my daughter as well. It's hard being a mom, especially to 3 children, and just watching how society changes. I just wanted to be surrounded by color and beauty, and I wanted to like show that through my painting and make them very hopeful. So definitely.
So next, we have Nommo Kofi Diop. So Namo began painting and drawing in elementary school and he went on to study art general studio practice at San Jose State University, where he received a Bachelor's of Arts degree in 2000. Currently, his emphasis is on African collective thought and patterns exploring internal creativity by deconstructing the present negative world and surrounding himself in an environment that looks beyond the external to paint and draw a positive, unprecedented vision of the present future. With that, I pass it over to Namo.
Thank you. Thank you for having me tonight. This is a little new for me, expressing myself other than in my own little chamber, my own little cave, but it's good to get out, and to try to express what I'm doing to a larger audience. My contribution to art has always been from something that I feel I've seen internal to me, and then trying to show it in the world. So I approach art by doing a lot of observation of the world around me, but then taking it in and then trying to recreate what I feel like I've seen in the outside world. So it does become challenging, I think, because a lot of times I think I'm kind of forced to address the fact that maybe nobody really sees it the way I do. And that in some ways kind of motivation to try to keep working on, trying to perfect what I'm trying to do. So, I think my art is somewhat unique. I have my own style. I have my own vision. I have my own kind of expression. And as you can see, this piece that is showing, it talks a lot about the double consciousness that a lot of African Americans feel they're caught up in, and because of slavery and the conditions that they were impacted on when they came to America. So, but when I look at this picture, I also kind of see that you don't have to see yourself in that reflection. You could see yourself as either being one or the other, or actually one body of a person. So it does kind of have you, I think, have you think about yourself, and it's titled Us. So that could be a reference to just us as a group of people, or us as a nation, and how we are portrayed around the world. So this is my offering. It's just to try to let you know how I see things and how I feel about things. And I also want people to know that this is what I get from seeing you, my vision of the way I see the world around me. And I hope it's something that we can all kind of understand, and we can all look inside ourselves and find, creativity, I think. So, I guess I kind of challenge you to see what's inside yourself and try to show it to the world.
Thank you, Namo. That's beautiful. It really makes me think about this idea, the Universal House of Justice, which is the world governing body of the Baha'is of the world. They said that justice demands universal participation. And that connected with this other idea. You guys know that story about like the 5 blind people who all have their hands on one part of the elephant. And one person's like, oh, it's a rope. And the other person's like, no, it's a trunk. It's a tree. And they all have their own perspective, but it's totally limited unless we have the perspective of everybody. And I love what you shared, that like you're understanding that your perspective, nobody may see it your way, and that you don't let that limit you. You let that drive you and encourage you. And I think that's the spirit of what this evening is all about. So thank you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, folks. So next up, we have Michèle Jubilee. Michèle is a multidisciplinary artist and illustrator currently living in California. She has experience working in art galleries and museums, both large and small. She currently works as the education programs manager at the new museum Los Gatos in California, developing arts programming for schools, artists, and the general public. Michèle seeks to find and create spaces that foster deeper conversations about the intersection of social justice and art. Oh, that sounds familiar. Thanks for being here. Her art practice explores themes of authenticity, the relationship between material and spiritual existence, and individual versus collective human experience. Nice. Michèle often explores the human body and nature as a metaphor for spiritual themes and ideas. Her various projects range from painting, printmaking, photography, digital illustration, poetry, murals, and installation. And with that, the mic's all yours, Michèle.
Thank you so much. I'm actually not going to talk about the pieces in the show. So if you're interested in seeing that, please do check it out. But I prepared a few slides to share a few of my other pieces and to share some thoughts on creativity. So my name is Michèle. Hello. I draw a lot, and I draw the human body. And I found that over the years, as I kept drawing, it became almost obsessive in terms of reflecting on ideas of the spirit and our body and how they interact, and the disconnect of how we feel internally versus how other people see us. And so I started drawing these faceless figures that kind of go beyond being very recognizable based on gender or race, and hopefully can feel more relatable that way. And the way that these figures interact in my drawings hint at different spiritual concepts or feelings or emotions or frustration or feelings of wanting to communicate. So I use a lot of hands, a lot of movement. And the video playing is a mural that I created 2 years ago. I hope to do more murals, but this was kind of a walkthrough of what it was like to finally create these figures in a life-size way, which was really nice. So I wanted to talk about creative process a little bit. One question I ask myself is, how can art help us understand truth? And some reflections for me are, art can touch the heart and soul. Art can connect to both the rational and emotional human experience. It helps us understand the world that we live in. And on top of that, it can be a tool for spiritual reflection. So it can actually be a way to meditate and even pray through what we make and our actions. And a question that I love to think about is, what is artistic research? And I think especially for individuals who maybe feel like they say they're not artistic at all, or they don't feel very comfortable, or they've never been to a museum, I look at art practice as a form of research, similar to chemistry or biology, all these sciences where you basically choose a question or an idea, and through a series of experiments and drawings maybe, or working with different mediums, you come to a certain conclusion, or that idea grows or leads to new questions. So that's something I think about a lot. Another thing I think about is, I'm a Baha'i, and the Baha'i writings inspire me. I wanted to share this quote. By the power of the Holy Spirit working through his soul, man is able to perceive the divine reality of things. All great works of art and science are witness to this power of the Spirit. So for me, a lot of Baha'i writings are quite humbling in our culture that really celebrates fame and money. Kind of takes you back to the reason why any of us create anything. And the Baha'i writings talk about how creativity is an attribute of the human soul that everybody possesses. Not one person more than another person. Maybe we express it in different ways as musicians, as chefs, as engineers, whatever that looks like. But it really comes from above. It comes from another place. And something we all have to learn about is how to be an instrument for that to flow through us in our life. And the piece on the right is a digital illustration based on a drawing. And I was thinking about the continents and the world and humanity as one human family. Another question I think about is, how can art facilitate meaningful conversation? Here are some examples of drawings about this idea that I've done, but I also think about this question a lot in my work in galleries and museums. How, as a program coordinator, can I make programs that are authentic, welcoming? How can we uplift the voices of communities that need a platform and need to be heard? So I find that my work in museums really influences my art and vice versa. So I wanted to finish with sharing this quote with you all, and I paired it with this animation that I made a year ago, and it's the first animation and only animation I've done. I hope to do more, but it's kind of fun because it shows the glimmerings of the beginning of my drawings kind of being put into movement. And it was commissioned to be part of a music video by my dear friend Missy B. Her song is called Paint. So this animation was, you can find it on my website if you'd like to hear the full song. It's really a nice song, but I'll read this quote. So it's from Abdul Baha. Can you paint upon the page of the world the ideal pictures of the celestial concourse? The pictures which are in the ideal world are eternal. I wish you to become such an artist. Man can paint those ideal pictures upon the tablet of existence with the brush of deeds. The holy divine manifestations are all heavenly artists. Upon the canvas of creation, with the brush of their deeds and lives, they paint immortal pictures which cannot be found in any art museum of Europe or America. But you find the masterpieces of these spiritual artists in the hearts. This, when I first read this, it really blew me away, because not only are Baha'i writings often very visually rich, but it's basically saying what's most important is how we connect with other human beings, and our legacy lasts in the heart. And God is the ultimate artist, the creator. Our spiritual teachers who have given us these beautiful writings are the artists. And I think it's humbling again. It's kind of cheeky, but it says, this is far superior than any piece of art in a museum that we all cherish and love, of course. But yeah, I thought I'd end on that note because it influences my work. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Michèle. I think I told some of you, my husband is a visual artist, and I'm not. At least I don't consider myself to be. But listening to you, that actually inspired me a lot. And I love this idea of creating art as a path of finding answers to questions or researching these questions. That's really beautiful. I'd never thought about it like that before. So thank you so much for sharing that. Well, friends, we are actually running a bit ahead of schedule, which means that we can take some questions, if our artists are comfortable with that, from the audience. If folks have questions, perhaps you could put them in the chat, and we could spend a few minutes. Perhaps the artist can field a few questions before we go into the breakout space. So here's a question for Angela. Angela, where do you see your art taking you?
Where do I see my art taking me? I'm not sure. I got on this journey completely by accident, I think. It started as getting over stuff from a brain condition and having brain surgery. And I see it taking me to a positive place, and continuing on that trajectory, just to have it shown, I guess, I want my art to like inspire like a discussion, like to have people think positively about it, to either just to inspire a discussion about the themes that are in it, I think.
Thank you. There's another question for Angela. Angela, was there any nervousness on your part by putting yourself out there so vulnerably?
Majorly, yes. I'm used to talking to 4-year-olds. It's a lot different talking to 4-year-olds than being on Zoom. Anything you say is funny and happy to them, and it's I think it's just like it's kind of raw. It's like I think as an artist anyway, you're a little bit you're kind of vulnerable. It's like you're putting your heart on display. I think it's something when I first started painting, it was something I did just to make myself feel better. I never expected anyone else to see it. So to be in a position where someone else is seeing it and looking at it and commenting on it, it's nervous. It feels good, but it's a nervous feeling, I guess.
This is a question for everyone. How does the process or journey of creating your work help you or shape your ideas? Let me read that again. How does the process or journey of creating your work help you or shape your ideas? Maybe if Namo or Michèle wanna, or Angela.
I also see a question for Namo about the hairline in his work.
Oh. All right, we'll do that one. Well, let's just do that one first. That's so interesting. What does it say? Because I don't see it.
It says the hairline of these men looks like Africa. Is that intentional?
Well, since I don't have a hairline, I don't know if that really meant anything. But I mean, it's whatever you see, whatever you interpret. If you see Africa, I see Africa too.
Nice. I appreciate that about, I know some artists, they don't want to put anything next to their work about what this work is, because, they don't want that to limit the experience of the viewer. I think that's powerful. Thank you. Well, I don't know if anybody is interested in addressing this question of how does the process or journey of creating your work help you or shape your ideas?
I think that for me, the life is more of the process, and I feel like I find like even like each day there's something that I've seen or I've heard, and it inspires me to put that on paper in some type of way, like maybe because it's visual, or maybe it's because it's audio, or it's something that I thought I want to be able to visualize that. How do you? It's sometimes very challenging to visualize thoughts or visualize what you hear.
Yeah, for sure. All right, last question. This is for anybody who wants to, all the three artists. In the exercise in the beginning, did any of the words that folks put in the chat strike you about your art? Yeah, did anything strike you about what people were saying about your art?
I think it's just such a good exercise. It was so quick, but that's a great Zoom exercise particularly, but like really voicing your initial reaction. And we all come to the table with different associations of images. So it's nice to hear from everyone of what that inspires in your own mind.
It actually makes me think of, spiritual writings have so many different meanings to them. There's actually this one quote that says there's 70 and 2 meanings to every word. And I feel like art is very similar. There's so many different ideas and perceptions and experiences that can come out of the same piece for all different people. All right, well, I think it is approaching breakout group time. What do you think, Frank?
Well, it's funny because there's a woman joining us this evening who participated in one of our discourse spaces for, I think it's Pupil of the Eye show. And so she's probably sitting here thinking, these guys are stealing everything I did, because that exercise was actually inspired by Helen Butler, who's here tonight. So hopefully the artists enjoyed that and you enjoyed engaging in that way. But But yeah, definitely that was inspired by her. But friends, another hope of this evening is that we inspire each other and really explore this concept of unity and diversity with each other in breakout groups. And I guess we'll go 15, 20 minutes in the groups, Jessica? Is that about right?
At least 15 or 20 minutes, yeah.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
So again, in the breakout groups, you know, many of you have probably participated in things like this, and you just want to make sure you speak in the I language, speak from your own perspective. Make sure it's a shared space. If we're going to have 3 groups with 10 people in a group, and someone talks for 10 minutes, well, that doesn't allow for many voices. So if you could just make sure that you're aware that we want to get as much insight from all the groups. And yeah, make it a brave space. Please feel free to share fully from your heart and your experience. But also the spirit of the conversation should also reflect what our goal is from the evening. So if we want the end to feel closer and to hear from you, we should also speak together, hopefully in that kind of unified and loving manner. So here are the 2 questions we're going to explore. What messages does society send about diversity currently? And then, how does diversity play a role in the collective coming of age of the human family? And what that last part of that sentence means is essentially, how does diversity play a role in us recognizing that we're all from one human family? So those are the 2 questions we'll be exploring, and the moderator should have those questions. And yeah, we'll go there, and then we'll 15, 20 minutes, and then we'll get called back here to do one more exercise together. So if we have the magic button to
Yeah, you don't have to do anything, Frank. Robert will take care of it. You'll be magically zoomed to a room.
But just as a bunch of you will go to room 1, a bunch will go to room 2. So you'll get that message, it'll pop up. The rest of you are actually going to stay in this main room. So if you don't see a pop-up, you're still in the right place. But if you do see a pop-up, go to that room. Okay, off we go.
So our artists have agreed to share a little bit of a reflection for us on what stood out to them in the conversation in their breakout space. I feel like I'm putting someone on the spot if I call on somebody. So I don't want to call on anybody. So if you want to go, just go ahead and go.
I can go. I took some notes, which is
Awesome.
helpful because so many things were said. So I have my little post-it. One thing that was said was for the coming of age when it'll really be a turning point when diversity is just a fact and not such an overwhelming anxiety, you know, when it becomes so much a part of our life and reality that it's reflected in our actions and in our institutions. We also talked about how the human body, the different organs, your fingernails, your eyelashes, like everything needs to work together for your body to function, and everything is needed, just like all the humans on the planet. And everyone deserves to sit at the table. Everyone should have a place at the table, and that's a human right. Yeah, someone also shared that as a minority living in a, for example, all white community, there can be pressure to represent your culture as a whole, because that's what people are observing. So yeah, like that's just interesting to reflect on, you know, the burdens that certain communities and people face sometimes, and feeling the need to represent a whole group of people and how to be mindful of that. Yeah, and then some really beautiful examples were shared of different ways that we can reinforce celebrating diversity, even by giving our children access to crayons of all skin shades to color with, or dolls that have darker skin. And these little things we can do to celebrate diversity are so important.
Thank you, Michèle. Angela or Namo, do you care to go?
Yeah, I really like being in the breakout room. I heard so many great perspectives. One quote stood out so much for me. It really resonated with me. It was, "Every artist dips their brush into their own soul." I've never heard that quote before. And it kind of really made me think about, like, wow, this, like, when you create a piece, it's from your experiences, it's from how you've lived, it's what you experienced, it maybe just people you've met. And I don't know, that really just, because your art reflects on your experiences in this life and who you meet and everything about you. So, and how people, reference your art. So I really liked that quote a lot from that.
That's quotable quote.
Yeah.
That's a quotable quote. Thank you, Angela. Namo?
Well, I like the fact that we had people from, I guess, all over different parts of the world, that were in on on the same time frame, and we got a chance to share our perspective or our position on diversity, and it was good to hear from a young person. There was actually a family, and there was one, I guess, with their daughter, and I just feel like when you talk about diversity, and you come to a group and you only have one child in the group or one young person in the group, that does kind of speak to the lack of diversity when we come together. But I got a lot out of it. I thought about a lot about just our own lack of economic diversity. That we can't decide on how to solve problems unless it's under capitalism. So, I got to hear from people who may or may not share in the same viewpoint as I do, but, and then understanding diversity is more than just color. It has a lot to do with, just the framework of how, God put us here. And if we accept it, we're okay. But if we don't, we have to ask ourselves why, why we don't.
Thank you, Namo. Thank you for that. Ed, I believe you're up.
I am. Yes, thank you. I need to have the, I'm going to put that in the chat because I need to get to share screen. We started the program with your words and the artwork that came from those beautiful, wonderful guests that just presented their artwork to us. And what I've been able to do for you is take your words and you created a painting out of it. And I'm going to share that with you. Can you all see that? What this is a word cloud. All the words that you put into the beginning when you looked at the 3 pieces of artwork and said, this is what you felt, that you were touched by, that you saw, is reflected here in this piece of work. Now, some of them are big because there was many of the words used, many times used. Some of them are small because it may have been only used once. But this is your collection, your feelings, and you created this tonight. I'm going to try to save this and make this available. I'm not sure how we're going to do that, but it'll be available. You're all quite artistic. This is wonderful. But what we want to leave you with tonight, and I'm going to let Jessica close up here, but what we have for you is I'm going to put it in the chat box. This is the question that we want you to walk away with for the evening. What role do I play in bringing about the full expression of unity and diversity? You can think about this as your head lays on the pillow tonight. You can write it in the chat right now. You can say something in the chat right now if you would like to, because we're saving the chat. But we would like to have you walk away with this thought. After the conversation and the dialogue you just went through, and after the quotes that we shared with you, we want you to realize that each and every one of us has a role to play. And how does that fit into your responsibility and your role? And how do you express that? we saw the artists that expressed it tonight in their creative, beautiful pieces of artwork that they presented to us. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Jessica, saying thank you. Thank you from the deepest part of my heart, from the art committee. We appreciate you all being here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Doesn't Ed just like make you feel good? Ed is a very heart person. I really appreciate that about him. So folks, that about wraps it up. We really appreciate you being here with us. We so much gratitude to our three artists, Namo, Angela, and Michèle. They are coming to us from New Jersey, from Texas, from California. And we've got some friends from from the Bahamas, from Indonesia, from other places. And we're so glad that you could be here with us and we could be here with you. And again, that's the silver lining of this pandemic, you know, that we can all be together. You'll see in the chat, that is the link to our next art discourse space. We will be focusing on poetry and just diverse unity. I have to go through it, just diverse united. So the third theme, unity and poetry. So the intersectionality of poetry and unity. And that is I believe it's on March 27th. And we hope that you all can be there, and our artists, maybe you can come back and participate. We would love to see you again. I also want to leave you all with one last thing. It occurred to me that in our breakout session, you know, someone was talking about the beauty of the flowers in the garden. And it occurred to me, you know, this concept that is in our society of tolerance. It's just such a strange concept to me. Like, daisies don't tolerate roses, you know, like there's like, what? There's so many underlying, and I actually was tempted to share my screen and share it with you all because it's hilarious. So I just put it in the chat. There's a music video about tolerance from my friends Eric and JB, and it is hilarious. So I encourage you all to watch it. It really takes our understanding of tolerance to another level, that what we're looking for is way beyond tolerance. It's appreciation of diversity. It's love of diversity. It's seeing the beauty in everybody. And with that,
one other thing, Jessica.
Sure.
I also put in the chat the link to the landing page for Just Diverse United, which has the artist gallery. If you find these artists in that space, you'll be able to see more of their art. It links to their Instagram page, their web pages. So I just wanted to share that as well, that these aren't these artists only pieces, as you know, even Angela's got a lot of her work right behind her. So Namo has his own website. So please go to the gallery and check it out.
Yes. And I don't know if I'm saying your name correctly. It's important to me to say names correctly. Nadema. Please email Green Acre, because our next art show is actually an Indigenous centered art show, and we would love for you to be involved. I see you want to share your work as a Native American artist. So we would, greenacre@usbnc.org. Please email us. All right, my friends, thank you for another wonderful evening. It's been great to be in these small groups with you and to really chat and get to know you more deeply. It feels good. And thanks again to our artists, and we'll see you next time. Have a great evening, everybody. Take care. Bye from Green Acre.
Take care, my friends.